Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So, this is a reading about somebody receiving a commandment. Now, you may be aware, you may not be aware of this yet, but when we are commanded to do something, that pretty much means that we have been divinely ordered, right? And so, this commandment is a positive one. This is us being commanded to either prepare for a feast or understand that there is some type of celebration that will be taking place. Now, celebrations, there are levels to celebrations, right? Now, at the same time that we have commandment and feast, right, we also have prayer and fasting. And so many times at the end of a period of fasting, you kind of have a feast or a celebration of what you had been fasting for, right? And so the feast is yours, but you have to make room for it, is what I'm sensing. So what you are asking for, what you want to be fulfilled with, what you want to be nourished with, is yours to have, right? You will get to the point where you will have an overflow of whatever would be food to you, whatever would feed your soul, right? You will have that. That feast is yours, but you must make room for it. Now, in order to make room for it, this is where the fasting comes in. So you may have just ended a fast. Congratulations. You may be thinking about fasting, preparing, or planning. And so maybe this is coming right on time, right? And so sometimes we fast now in the present so that we can feast later. Fast now, feast later. And so God has already ordered your feast, right? And so now this is essentially you doing what you have to do to get to the feast, to make sure that you are at the table at the right time to enjoy the nourishment of the journey thus far, right? And so when we go through a fasting, it normally is going to be accompanied by prayer. And prayer looks like many different things. Most of us are familiar with formal religion, right? And what prayer looks like in either many religions or across the sects or the varieties or the styles of religion, right? And so in this sense, just consider prayer to be almost like a sincere request for help, right? So while you're fasting, you are going to sincerely be communicating. Maybe it is help, or maybe it is an expression of thanks that you are giving, right? To God or to an object of worship, depending on how you demonstrate your own spirituality. And so you take something away from yourself. You fast, you purge something, right? You remove something. And then you fill it with a thankfulness, gratitude, right? And just request for more goodness, request for understanding, request for assistance, right? And so this is how the communication goes. This is how the prayer unfolds. Now, fasting is essentially feeling homesick for God. When you realize that the things that you have been feasting on are not fulfilling, they are not nourishing, they are not giving you what you thought you wanted or really needed, then it's like, okay, I am willing to put down the things that didn't fulfill me, that didn't quench my thirst for life, right? I'm willing to be humble enough to know that none of those things I tied myself to were the true, living, real God or a part of God's will or my divine will. Like they didn't have substance. They were superficial, right? And so God is saying, listen, the feast is yours. Are you able to fast? Are you able to take away the things? Can you sever the relationships with the false idols, right? Can you stop eating that food? Can you stop doing that behavior? Can you put down the things where you invested a lot of your time but got minimal return in order to build, strengthen, and maintain your relationship with spirit, right? The universe, whatever that is for you. And so sometimes walking away from the thing that truly feeds us, walking away from the source, reveals to us what the source really was, right? And so this is why free will is important. You know, the divine doesn't snatch us back and punish us for walking away. No, we are given free will to demonstrate how our own will aligns with the divine will. And so sometimes we will feast on things that are not fulfilling. And that was necessary in order to find what true, authentic, divine fulfillment is. And so in this season, I feel like you've already had your feasts that they didn't pan out to anything. Those could have been jobs, careers, connections, ideas, projects, whatever. You already feasted on all of the things that gave no return. You are being divinely ordered to prepare for the feast that you deserve and desire, right? And so in order to do this, you almost have to assume the posture of preparing for your feast, which requires prayer and fasting. So sometimes people will fast meat, or they will fast something that they have given power to, right? It's almost like I need to call back my energy from the things that I put a lot of energy into, right? I'm going to call it back because I want to use it elsewhere. I want to put it in a different pot. I want to put it in my God pot, my divine pot, my most high pot, right? Because there's something I need that none of these things can give me. And so I'm going to go to the source because I know what that source is. When that is your mindset, and when you can get yourself in tight situations and recognize that you've gotten yourself in situations, or recognize that there was something you needed to learn, like when you can be humble and you can really explore your journey and offer yourself grace and forgiveness and gratitude, when you know how to return yourself back home, when you know how to do that after you have assumed responsibility for walking on the path that wasn't divinely aligned, right? It was aligned with your free will, but maybe it wasn't divinely aligned. But nonetheless, when you can find your way back home, you can't lose. When you can find your way back home, you cannot lose, right? And so your protection and your connection to source, it's something that is unbreakable. It is something that cannot be tampered with. It is real. It is real. It is real. And so I kind of got the idea of you being, like, I don't know, like a little bug or a little insect, right? And so imagine you're crawling on the table and somebody puts a cup over you, and they're so sure that you are under that cup. But when they lift up the cup, you're gone. Right? And, oh, we found it again. We put a cup on it again. Lift up the cup, you're gone. And so I feel like that demonstrates or reveals what the protection looks like. The divine protection looks like. For a period of time, we've wandered under a cup, right? And that cup is a part of us trapping ourselves in what we thought was our free will, what we thought was fulfillment, what we thought was going to bring us success. We got trapped in something. But then we recognize we're in a trap. And then our protection comes in and almost removes us or takes us out of a situation. It's almost like we wake up and we're like, oh God, I'm in this cup again, right? And so that's what I see. Your protection is your consciousness. Sometimes just being conscious that you have walked off the path is enough to trigger the protection, is enough to trigger change. It's just knowing. It's the knowing. And so if there's something you need to know, if there's something you're longing for, if there's something you're feeling homesick for in your connection to God, something you want to feel, you are being asked to fast. The feast has already been ordered. It is already yours, right? And so the fasting and the praying and whatever the dedication, the commitment, the plans and the preparation are, all of these things are leading up to the feast. Right? Your celebration is already there. What's for you is for you. And are you willing to walk upright in order to get to it and to essentially arrive on time? Right? And so essentially the world is at your fingertips right now. Right? I don't think you're going to be walking under many more cups. You're not going to be going for many more traps. I think you understand source. You understand your source. You understand your call. And you're clear, right? And so now this new journey opens up, right? You have successfully completed a period of some kind of darkness or just not knowingness, right? And so now you have access to something that you didn't have access before. Now, this could be a metaphorical journey of learning. It doesn't have to mean that you are going to travel or move, but for some it may, right? For some it's online connections, but there's going to be some type of link from where you are now to somewhere else. It's going to be a great leap, a great adjustment. But this is new. This is expansion. So you are about to expand now that you have worked your way through the level of the cups, right? Now, trust the new direction, trust this movement that you are going in. It is a new possibility, but it also could be outside of your comfort zone. Okay. And so whatever this possibility is what is going to fill the space that you made for your fast, right? So when you fast, you take your energy away from certain things, you put your energy into your connection with God, you communicate, you receive the wisdom, the knowledge, the information, and then something has to fill that space with all the energy that you called back. You got it purified, you got it cleansed, you got it cleared. You now understand the assignment of that energy. So now you use that energy in this new possibility. Now we have the third eye chakra coming up. Right. And so there may be something to balance in your chakra in order to prepare you for what comes next. Right. And so our chakras essentially give us, well, they give and they receive energy. They give energy, they receive energy. And so emotional wounds and trauma block our chakras, right? It doesn't allow the life force or the prana to be delivered to the body because our chakras are blocked. You tend to know when you have blockages, energetic blockages, when you are feeling tense or stress, or, struggle with severe anxiety. Something is off with the flow of energy. And so holding on to things that hurt us blocks a certain type of energy from growing and flowing. There's something we're not being able to receive. And so for the third eye chakra to come out, this is our sixth chakra, right? This is the one that's connected to our pituitary gland. It's our inner seeing. It's our intuition. Taps into our higher levels of consciousness, right? It's between the brows and it's just above our nose, right? And so this is the house of psychic intuition and inner guidance, right? And so when this aspect is blocked, and listen, all chakras have shadow emotions, right? And so we have a light and a dark to everything. And so whenever energy that has been caused by emotional pain gets trapped in the body, our chakra starts to emit an energy that is going to be darker, right? So it's going to emit the shadow energy, right? And we're not able to let it go. We haven't released it. We're just kind of holding on to it. So then it stagnates itself. It impacts the other chakras. And so the shadow aspect of the third eye chakra is illusion, deception, false impression, sham, imitation, things that are a dupe. So that's the idea of walking under the cups, thinking that those were feasts and being duped. That is an indication that you had a blockage of your third eye chakra. And so you had the tendency to fall for the illusion, for the sham, whatever the idea was, right? But it wasn't real. It was a false impression. You were deceived somehow. These could have been deceiving situations, deceiving projects, whatever. But nonetheless, that you couldn't access your own inner knowing to know if this was real, if this was God's will or free will or the will of something a little more sinister, right? And so now that you have worked through those blockages, now you are ready for the possibility, right? Now you have access to your own inner guidance. You are no longer confused about your path or which way to go or who and what source is, right? And so this was necessary. It was necessary for you to kind of live in some type of falsehood where you were disconnected from source because it showed you the absence of source, what then helped you relocate the presence of source, right? And so sometimes we have to be corrupted. We have to be distorted in order to know the difference between when we are off and we are on, right? Like it is necessary. It's not an indication that we've done anything wrong. It was just a necessary step. Now, as you grow, as you expand, we've already talked about your protection is yours. Every time the cup is lifted, you're gone, right? Every time the cup is lifted, you're gone. So as you expand, jealous eyes may be upon you. The evil, the projections will also expand because more people have access to you. More people can see you, right? And so your protection is still going to work against any misfortune that others are going to wish upon you, right? And so whether you are familiar with the evil eye symbol, or whether you just have an amulet or a charm or some type of ritual that you do for your own protection, make peace with that, amp it up, grow it, make it your own. Recognize that it goes with you no matter how far you grow, no matter how big you become. Everything, if the negative energy increases around you, your protection increases to counter it, right? So don't be fearful of becoming the biggest version of yourself because of the things that you endured when you were a smaller version of yourself, right? So recognize that your protection, it's going to deflect the envy. And it's going to bring back good luck, right? So it repels the bad and it brings in the good. Repels the bad and brings in the good. And that is essentially what our chakras work to do. They receive and they give energy. And so situations are going to happen that causes pain, right? And we're going to get lost for just a little bit during certain seasons of our life. And the wounds that we carry are going to put us in a different energy than naturally we were called to be in. And so balancing your own energy, recognizing when nothing is fulfillment and you got to go back to source. It's necessary because it's almost like giving yourself an oil change. It's like cleaning you up, right? And so, being aware that there is negative energy, there are negative people that want to impact your well-being, right? It does exist. And sometimes just the awareness of it helps you walk a little different, right? And so anytime you receive an increase in anything, energy comes with that. Attention comes with that. So just be mindful of your surrounding energy as you move through this expansion, right? The illusions don't work anymore. People can be envious of that. You are not easy to deceive. People can be envious of that, right? You are walking in a way that people don't understand. It wasn't their assignment to understand, right? So the closer you get to source, the closer you get to your authentic self, your path will narrow because it is fit for you. And so all those that can't walk it or understand the way you are walking it, at times may project or throw things at you to get you to stumble, to get you to slow down, to get you to turn around, to get you to quit, to get others to quit on you. And that comes with the territory, which is why the protection is built in, right? Now, recognize your own energy. Recognize when you are being called to stand back and to look at your life in order to find clarity, in order to find appreciation, because sometimes the energy can be ours. Maybe we are so used to the projection that we are carrying the idea that it's happening even if it is not, right? And so sometimes it is an energy that we are carrying, or it is an energy that has been thrown at us and it is stuck to us and we need to clean it off, right? And so a part of you protecting yourself requires you to rest and rejuvenate. You cannot go all the time. No, you cannot do all the time, every day. You can't do it. And that is okay. And it is mature to know that it's okay because protection is needed. Patience, right? So when you are called to rest, you are being called to rest because you need to charge up. You need to rejuvenate. So sometimes you have to take a step back, so that the next step you take is the healthiest and the strongest step, right? So sometimes you take a step back so that the next one is healthier and stronger. That is also how you guarantee your own protection, right? Allowing time to reflect, giving yourself space to be alone. And sometimes when those moments are long overdue, we tend to be more vulnerable and fragile to the projections and the attacks from others, right? And so you may have just come out of a particularly emotional or mentally taxing experience, right? You're protected, but it still could have exhausted you somehow. And so maybe this is your moment to kind of just sit and rest, right? This is your safe space, your time to heal, the time to just be with your soul. And so the idea is this: you can get trapped under the cup as many times as you are trapped under the cup. But the fact that you always know how to get back to source is the reason why when the cup is lifted, you are gone. It's because you found your way home. And so there are going to be times where you have to find your way home after you have been through something that has drained you, right? This is what you must know how to do. You have to know when your body is asking you to find its way back home, right? God always has a way to get into you. Always, right? And so sometimes the darkness, it likes to surround us. It likes to make us feel attacked and caged in. It just likes to bombard you with fear, right? But God always has a way in, right? And so you are just too vast for the enemy to understand how God communicates with you, right? And so sometimes the enemy thinks that the cup, right, the cage that it put over you or whatever it did to slow you down or to get you turned around, it thinks that that was the perfect play, right? But then there's God, right? And sometimes you have to love the stupidity or the ignorance of the enemy because it really does you justice. In the end, it does you justice, right? Because the enemy never knows how you and God commune. They don't know how God speaks to you. It doesn't know how God gives you signals, how God gives you messages. The way that God downloads to you is unknown to others, right? And it doesn't need to be known. You don't need to tell everybody how you are who you are. No. The way that God communes to you, others don't know. And it is the reason that you are not under the cup when they pick it up. It is because something supernatural happens that removes you from harm, that removes you from danger, even if it looks like you've been caught, you've been trapped, right? This is an indication to you that you've been protected, but also you need to sit your ass down and rest, right? So that we can take a bigger, stronger step next time and we don't get ourselves in trouble. We don't get ourselves in the wrong situations or with the wrong people or in the wrong group, right? We don't get ourselves on the wrong path. But this is going to happen many times, and that's okay. The enemy loves to be the cup. It loves to trap you. It loves to stop you, but nobody knows how you and the divine work, right? And so realize that that is protection, and protect it by honoring it, making space for it, making room with it. Yes, making room for it. Expecting that you will get the download, that you will get the message, that you are not alone. Expect that you can't lose. Expect that you can't lose. Know that you can't lose. Feel it in every fiber of your being. You can't lose, right? You can't lose. Even if it appears that you have been trapped, you still can't lose. If you know that, then you've become a force, right? You've become a force. And the only reason why you know you can't lose is because you understand your source, right? And so after your season of rest and rejuvenation, whenever you get your mind right, whenever you remember the things that you forgot, or just remember when you just get clarity, remember, and this is coming off of anything emotional or mental that was draining to you. After you leave those situations, you do need a period of rest. After rest comes action because your step matters. So whenever you get back out there, you are being asked to take the lead, to head in the direction of whatever energies that make you come alive, that bring you vitality, that bring you passion, right? And so move in the direction of the things that you are passionate about. Just like the sunflower shifts its position to face the sun's rays, so should you face the position of your ambitions. Take actions and take moves towards the things that you love, that you are inspired to do, that you are excited about. And so the waiting period is over, or it will be over. So get physically active if that is something that was a part of your next move, your next step. Get active. Go for it, right? This is not the time to be timid or shy. So after this period of rest, you're gone. You're out there, you're going after it, you're getting it in, right? And so soaking in the nourishment of your passions. You're allowing your passions to nourish you, right? So all of the things that we followed in the beginning, thinking that they were going to fulfill us, all the things that we feasted on, we have now learned that they didn't nourish us, right? So we fast, we pray, we get in alignment, we unblock our inner knowing. We're like, okay, I got it, right? I was falling for illusions. Something was being distorted. But now that I'm back on track, now I understand that these are the things, these are the truths of my path that I need to pursue, right? And so you have to act like a leader. You have to assert your will and essentially develop a strong mental control over your free reigning emotions, right? You are about to be in a position of authority over you, right? And so tapping into your masculine qualities or your masculine energy is needed for you to step in this leadership role. So we're talking about logic and strength, wisdom and power. This is a time of good reasoning and problem solving. And remember, when things get shaky, you find your sacred space, you find your way back home, you go to source. You fast, you pray, and then you know that the feast will come. This is a cycle. This is a cycle. This is what life does. And so you are being asked to maybe go without for a season so that you can have plenty in another season. And even when I say go without, it doesn't mean that you have to lack. It just means that you have surrendered, you have released, you have let go of things that were calling in a lot of your energy, but maybe weren't returning you with nourishment, right? And so whatever it takes to get closer to your consciousness, you are willing to do it, which is also another layer of your protection because you're diligent, you're persistent, right? Adversity exists. And so knowing source and knowing how source has manifested in you means that you understand that you are essentially a piece of God, right? And so God, whatever the God is in you, that was what you were chosen to carry, right? And sometimes we kind of we go back to the manufacturer to see the intention behind our own design. Sometimes we forget, and our free will take us down many paths, right? And we will fall prey to illusion and we'll think that this is the way, but then you have to honestly say, this isn't it. And then guess what? I got to go back to who built me. So you go back to source, you go back to the Most High, and you're like, so what was I supposed to do again? Like, what am I like, and you figure it out and so to understand the thumbprint of God, you would have to look at all of us, right? Because we are all a variety of God. And when you put us all together, maybe we make up the thumbprint. But nonetheless, we are all a piece of something. And so my piece is not going to be identical to your piece, right? And so whatever you do to get to your own consciousness, you were getting closer to the version of God that is pieced inside of you, right? And so there is no wrong answer in your personal expression when you understand that you are expressing source. Right? And so, go back to the manufacturer, figure out the intention. Why was I created or designed this way? But be honest and true with the things that you are passionate and the things that you love, right? Don't be embarrassed. And sometimes we will go down the wrong path, and that was only to get us closer to the right path. That is not a moment of shame, regret, or guilt. When you accept, now let me talk about this. I consider love hold on. When you accept the love of the universe as your primary teacher, you'll always be guided back to the light. And so listen, this is, to me, I interpret that as saying, when I accept that God is my primary source, I'm always going to go back to it because I've acknowledged it as home, right? And so just like the sunflower always finds the rays of the sun, no matter what. Right? Nighttime comes, storm comes, rain comes, it doesn't matter. The sunflower always knows how to find its way back to the sun's rays. It leans into it. It looks for it. It seeks it. It knows it. No matter what has just happened prior, it still gets back to the rays. And I feel like that's how we have to be with the universe, with light and with love. No matter what season we are, no matter what we've endured, we always have to lean into love, lean into light. We always have to look for it. I consider basic examples of everyday situations where the universe is showing you love. A row of green lights, right? And so literally driving in the car and getting a green light and another, that's love. Like, that is the universe giving me a high five and saying, like, we love you. I'll take it. Ordering a 10-piece chicken nuggets and them giving you 12 nuggets. That is love. I will take it. So what I'm saying is looking for the light, and these don't have to be major things, but like, these are small wins that just tickle my soul. We have Publix grocery store here. Publix has BOGO every week. Buy one, get one, right? And so one item, you buy one, you're going to get another one free. I love finding the items that I love that are on BOGO for the week. That is a win. Like, that is love. That is light. And so when you collect like just these little small pieces of things that get you excited or bring you passion, it's almost builds. It's like the snowball effect. It will grow. It will grow. And then all of a sudden you're finding things that are larger, right? Or possibilities are happening that you maybe didn't imagine. But when you look for the wins and you look for the winks, right? And the smiles of the universe and of this existence, it really shifts the overall energy that we carry, right? A couple weeks ago, I walked into the local gas station. I think it's called Racetrack. And it was hot. And so I picked up the biggest cup so that I could get a fountain drink. And when I got to pay for the drink, it was only 89 cents. And I was like, what? Right? I mean, this is a massive drink, 89 cents. And I asked the clerk, and they were like, yeah, all summer, every drink, no matter what size, is 89 cents. That is a win. That is a win. You know what I mean? And I was so excited. Like, I really get excited about, and I say nothing because maybe to some it's really nothing, but it is the fact that I can find excitement in the simple, in the small, right? That's essentially being childlike. And the universe works faster when you're having fun. And so think of maintaining your energy to be light and to be quick, like a child, and the universe will match you, right? So when I'm excited about 2 extra chicken nuggets or 4 green lights or an 89 cents drink, like, that's not asking a lot. Like, the universe will deliver. And obviously the obvious big things are going to be exciting, but I'm just saying, like, look for the little things that you can lean into throughout your day that take you back to source, that take you back to love, they take you back home, they take you back to the light, right? One of the things that my family always tells me is that I find the deals, or that I'm lucky, or that I find the good stuff. But the idea is that I look for it, right? Maybe I haven't seen it, but it's the idea that I know it's there. Right? And so essentially this is me telling the universe, you know, I'm on the way for the good stuff. So can you please make it known to me? But it's the energy that I carry. Yes, I could totally speak it out loud, but it's an energy that I carry where I am looking for the good stuff. Just go ahead and show it to me, because I know it is a part of my Monday. I know it is a part of my Tuesday, my Wednesday. So I hope this message was beneficial. Sometimes we fast now so we can feast later. Lean into the rays of the sun, whatever it is that brings you peace. If you've been exhausted, pull back, communicate, ask questions. Do whatever it takes to get back to the peace of the divine that has been tucked in you this lifetime, that you need to grow and nourish, right? And so thank you for tuning in. I love you. I hope this message was beneficial, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.